Okay, hey everyone, finally I'm live. We'll stream today building React Native app with the augmented reality app in React Native. It's my first streaming experience, so I'm not sure if I will do everything correctly, so bear with me. Let me just check if my stream is live. Yeah, currently yeah. Okay, so yeah, no viewers for now. We'll wait a little bit. We'll get in some more viewers and then we'll start. Okay. Yeah, let's start. So people that will join in the middle or that will view it later, just ask in chat and I'll explain everything you've missed. So what we'll be building today, and before just getting into augmented reality stuff and what is augmented reality, let me just show you how augmented reality app actually looks like. So I'm using Vero Media today for developing augmented reality app in React Native. Vero Media uses ARKit and ARCore under the hood, and currently I'm using Vero Media official app. They have a bunch of examples in this app, so you can click, for instance, on Hello World example, and you will see like AR in the real world. So we won't be building these simple demos. We will go more into building casual game, like Tetris-like game today. So this app also has a really great feature we will use today. If we click on the hamburger icon, we have enter testbed feature which enables us to develop without using basically Xcode or Android Studio. Similar to Expo, we can just put here our ngrok URL and then we will have our app working. So let's get started. If you go to Vero Media website, this is the website. You'll have a bunch of docs, and if you look at a quick start, you will see here a bunch of dependencies which are basically the same, mostly the same dependencies as for React Native. And then we will have in order to install sample app, we need to run this command. So I already done that, and basically, yeah, you can see I'm not lying. So I ran this command, and it created Vero sample directory here. So if I go into Vero sample and open my editor, that is basically all code that was generated for me. And let's see what do we have here. If I run npm start in Vero sample folder after creating this app with CLI, let me just bring for a second my phone and go into enter testbed, and now I need to type my ngrok URL. So it will be 6f2, remind me later, to c 6578. Yeah. So this will be the sample app, and if I run this app, and basically you will see a red screen of that right now, and literally everyone that tries that gets it and gets frustrated about that. So we have AR and VR, but if I click on AR, I will probably, yeah, I will get this error. So why is that? If I look in official docs, basically there is such thing as putting an API key in our app.js. To get this API key, you need to sign up. It's free. There is no pricing model for now for Vero. But what I have to do now in order to make it work, yeah, sorry, it's different editors. It's this one, and yeah. So if we will go into app.js, we'll have here this. All of these was generated for us. So have API key here. So I will paste API key I already have. And actually this is my open source API key, so you will see a bunch of examples on my GitHub and in general all talks I do. Now if I bring up my app again and reload it, and again I'm getting a sample app right now, nothing, no code that I wrote, right? This is something I got from out of the box. So now I have AR and VR. If I go into AR, I will have Hello World in my home office. I can do nothing with this Hello World, it's just hanging there, but I can kind of look around it and stuff like that. So let's start with the game. So what do we want to do with the game? We obviously need some kind of user interface in our game. We need the actual AR scene. We need to get a bunch of maybe scores. Maybe we need a bunch of game states, stuff like that. So let's start creating that, but before that let's walk through the anatomy of an app. So we have app.js here, and we have JS folder with resources and with two scenes, Hello World scene and Hello World scene VR, I think, yeah, AR. So what's happening here, we have Vero sample app, and we have a bunch of things here. If you look in the app itself, we've seen two buttons, right, with AR and VR experience. So this is this type of code, this code. So we have kind of experience selector, and we get either VR navigator or AR navigator. So Vero has this thing with when you can set up a navigator, and that will basically encompass various AR scenes. So you can basically differentiate between different AR scenes in your game or app or whatever. So here we have Vero AR scene navigator, and we pass it initial scene as initial AR scene. Rest of this is like getting VR and getting experience and a bunch of like exiting and a bunch of styles. So nothing too complex, like regular React Native code. So not except maybe two of these, all of these should look familiar to you, right? So what I will do here right now is basically I already have my shared pros, but I don't want to call them that way. I want just to have an API key, and I will actually just delete those, and I won't have this experience selector and won't have default one, and I don't need those. Basically, I'm clearing this up. So let's just remove those and let's just clear everything up. So right now I have just empty zero sample. I will even remove constructor. And don't need it. And maybe I will also remove the VRC navigator. So we have just regular zero sample. So we have some sort of score. So I would say I want some kind of score modifier at some point. We will talk about this later, but I will define it here. And I want actually, it will be a Tetris-like app. So I want a bunch of models falling from like the real world into the AR plane. But they will there will be more models when you pass from level to level. So I'll have some kind of const, we'll call it model per level, and the first level will have like 10 models, something like that. So my initial state for now, I will have score, which is 0, default is 0, default level is 0, and lives will be 3 lives, and I will have some kind of game state. So every, especially like this game, will have various game states. Essentially every game has various game states. So let's define those. So game states will have menu. When we'll show just game menu, I will have in-game when I'm actually getting inside the AR world, inside AR game. So let's call it in-game, and I will have game over with the game over thing, and level start will be symbol level start. You will see why I needed this later on, but for now, while we render, basically we'll have basic switch case. Actually, I can use React navigation here, but just for simplicity, I will use just plain React state. I won't use Mobix or Mobix state tree. I could and I should probably do that, but like for the simplicity of this app, I don't want to dive into other concepts. So let's just do a regular switch case when we check our game state, whether it's menu, then let's render some kind of UI. We don't have it yet, we'll create it in a bit. So if it's in-game, then what we should do, we will just render game view. Actually, it's this render UI, and let's do this render game view. And if we game states game over, then we will basically also render UI. Actually, we can simplify. We actually have also level start. So let's just leave it as is. We can clean the code later on. So let's do our render UI function, which will be basically just like regular React view. So we have nothing here from AR. So I have a snippet of it here, so I won't type everything. Actually, you know what? Before that, let's just add another state. Game states level start, because I forgot about that, and just treat this render level start GUI, something like that. So my render UI will be something like this. And let me just paste a bunch of styles. So I assume you know how to style React Native apps. So yeah, something like that. So I have a bunch of buttons and exit buttons. So what do I have here? I will call it pile blocks AR, and if my game state is menu, then UI will be menu, otherwise it will be game over. And I have a bunch of descriptions. So I have a description. So in this game, you need to select highlight surface and piles blocks and blah blah blah. Get to a high score. So, and you have a button with start game, and I have this function change level here. So this is another thing I should add, right? So change level is basically I'm going with the concept, instead of separating starting a game and changing levels as different functions, I start my level at 0 and then I just progress to level 1 by calling change level when I'm starting a game. And then I go to, like the idea is to go to level start portion of a game, and then have some kind of loading, and then just start the actual AR game. So that's the idea. So let's just code it. So I will just add another level, and I will change my game state to game states level start. So something like this. When I get level start, what happens here? Let's check our render function. We go to render level start GUI, and it's a different GUI. So let's write it. And before I will write all AR stuff, I will show you how it look like, how it will look like. So no worries, you don't see what's happening on the screen. I'm actually not looking at the simulator on my app, so that's fine. So let's just paste the snippet here. Again, I have a bunch of styles. I have this text here, so put some number of blocks on the surface. When you click on the block, physics is applied. You can drag block around. Whenever blocks falls, you lose a life. Falls from the surface. something like that. And then I have start game function. So another one I need to write. Here everything is simple. We just set state, GameState, game states in game. So the idea is I'm getting the menu, then I start the game, I'm getting level started, and when I click on the start game, I'm starting game. The reason why I do that, because you progress from level to level and you get to the same started game screen. So another thing we should add here in terms of callbacks, we will have lose. Actually, I'll just omit those. There is one thing I should add. So I have render UI, and then I have the in-game view. So I have render game view, right? I forgot to write. So let's write it here. And here what we'll have, we will start with basic view with our basic styles. And here I want status bar to be hidden because I'm in game. I don't want any status bar in the game. And I will have a view local styles. What was the top menu? And let me just paste a bunch of this stuff. Yeah, so I have top menu with buttons, and I will have another function here, back to menu. I will add it here. And it's this set state. And when I'm getting back to menus, basically I'm quitting the game, right? So I will set my score to 0, I will set my level to 1, I will set my lives to 3. Actually, I will set a level to 0, because when I start the game, I actually change level and I bump level by 1. Lives and game state will be game states menu, something like that. Okay, so I hope it will work. Actually it won't, I guess, because I don't have status bar, but let's see. So let's just reload our app, and I really hope it will work, because you know, like live coding, you never know. Even though I have snippets for some stuff, but still. Okay, I have this file blocks AR, and if I click on start game, have level 1. So put 10 blocks on the surface. When you click on the blocks, blah blah. When I start level, I actually have these like lives here. I don't know why this UI is messed up here in the recording, because on the screen I see it fine. But yeah, I have back and 0. Basically I have all these buttons, but I don't have AR part. So now it's time to get to doing some AR stuff. So we will start with we will have render game view, and we have this status bar. And remember when I talked at the beginning about the actual thing with navigators, AR navigator and VR navigator. So we need to add navigators to be being able to navigate between our screens. So let's start with AR screen navigator, and we need to pass API key. It's mandatory prop, and I already declared this const. In addition to that, I need to pass initial scene, and let's for now do it like this. We have this hello world scene AR, so let's just pass it there. I think it's exported default, yeah. So let's import game scene from hello world scene AR and pass it to our, where was it? No, yeah, here. And then just close our tag. Supposed to work. Let me just put it here, so I won't need every time to remove it from screen and bring it back. So start game, start level, and you see I have this hello world, and I still see this back and 0 and number of lives and all this stuff. So it's kind of cool. I have this React Native overlay on, like regular overlay on AR world. But let's get to the actual game. I probably should put it away so I won't distract. So we were at ARC Navigator. So we declared here a bunch of things. We have score, and we have level, and we have lives. And so we need to somehow pass them to our ARC. If we pass them as props here, we won't be able to access them. So what should we do? There is this prop called Vero props, and here I can pass everything I want to the scene, and it will be accessible on AR Scene Navigator Vero props prop inside this scene actually. So let's pass model number, this state level. So I have here this one declared, right? So I want each level to multiply level by a number of models. So the first level I will have 10 models, then I will have 20, and you get the idea. Then I will have a level with just passing this state level. I will have this callback, because at some point when I reach some kind of score, I will need to change this level. Update score. I haven't defined this yet, but we definitely need to update score somehow. We need to define what happens when we lose life. This lose life, and then actually we don't need another one. So these are basically all stuff. Yeah, so I have here in the chat, am I able to view snippets of the live show and also the entire source code for this AR app? Yeah, definitely you can. Everything will be on GitHub. So you can play around with it. Actually, you can open pull requests to this repo and add a bunch of functionality to this AR game. So feel free to do that. I will share links at the end of the stream and also tweet about that. Yeah, so let's get back to the code. So I have this lose life and update score and change level. So what I haven't defined yet, lose life is basically this set state. We need just to this state lies oops, sorry, got distracted. This state lies -1, and I will have an update score. Let's do that. Update our score as this state score plus 100. Actually, I have this score modifier, so something like that. And actually, I have a bug here. So what happens if I lose all lives? I basically go to game over state, right? So I need to check here if this state lives equals 1. Then I go to game over, and game over is basically just changing game over state. Game over. That should do. Okay, so what did I do here? I passed everything down the ARC navigator, and I think this is it for the like main UI. Haven't forgot anything. Yeah, so it's time to get to this one, Hello World Scene AR, and this is the cool part because we will be doing a bunch of AR stuff here. Let's just rename it because it's not hello. Let's just remove the VR part. Rename this one to I'll call it just game scene AR. We'll do for now. Game scene AR. I'm not sure if I should. Yeah, actually, let's just remove everything. So let's see how it's structured here. just update. Okay, update automatically, and on initialized I removed binding, so I need to change it to like this. So the default scene that is created is wrapped, as you can see, in Vero AR scene. Like every basically when you use navigator here, you need to pass the scene have to be Vero AR scene. So you cannot pass a view there because it expects the AR scene. Similarly with VR, it's supposed to be Vero VR scene because Vero can do both. It can do AR and VR. And again, the beginning of the stream, this is based on ARKit and ARCore, so there's no there is obviously lots of work done to wrap this into rendering engine and adding particle system and stuff like that, but it works. It leverages ARKit and ARCore for creating AR and VR content. So Vero AR scene, Vero text, and Vero constants. Vero constants used here. So basically, AR is based on lighting. So if your room is dark, any AR solution right now won't give you an ability to track surfaces because it won't recognize the depth, won't recognize where the physical planes are, and stuff like that. So Vero AR scene has this prop. It's called on tracking updated, and by default, when you create an app, you have this method on initialized, which is called, and it just has a basic checking of if tracking is normal or if there's no tracking. So we can expand it further. Actually, let's keep it as it is right now. Let's keep it as it is. So we have this AR thing with on initialize. We don't need this text, so I can just remove the text. So let's think what we want to create. We want to create some kind of experience when you can select your content, select your surface, and when you click on this surface, then game starts. So you have some kind of loading of 3D models, UI, and then you'll have the bunch of models flying around, and you can drag them, put them on the surface, and basically the whole game. But before that, we need to treat this tracking. So we'll have some kind of state here. Let's call it initialized, and the default will be false. And we will have some kind of let's call it get UI text, which will have this true or false if it's initialized or not. So we can pass this state. Basically, let's do it better. It will get an actual text to present, and we'll have all our UI text will be wrapped in this one method. So if our state is initialized, then initializing and not tracking. You'll see where it goes, and yeah, 1 second, and I'll just find snippet here. Yeah, so get UI text, and we have initial. So if we are not initialized, then we have no tracking, and if we are, then we have initializing. Why is that? Because let me just pass my snippet here. So we'll have another one is tracking, which is false. And basically on the first pass, when it first time renders, if I get tracking normal, have tracking true initialize true, and I will get I think I forgot here something. Yeah, so if I have normal tracking, then I'm tracking and initialized, and if there is no tracking, then basically I'm not tracking, so I need here is tracking. Is tracking. I know what I forgot to put here. Yeah, let's do it like this. This state is tracking. Tracking. Then, if I'm tracking, I want to get my ARC, right? So if I'm not tracking, I will just want to get the UI text. And if I'm not tracking, then I will get UI text. But my no tracking part is can have two permutations. One is when I'm not initialized yet, and the other one tracking. And the other one is if I'm initialized. So here I will do initializing, otherwise it's just not tracking. So something like that. So I need to put this get UI text method, and I need to put get ARC. So far we just look at this ARC component here, but here right now we will we'll be doing some actual AR content. So for ARC, let me just render a box with height 0.2 with 0.2, length of 0.2, and position at 0, 0, -1. So what's happening here? I will just render a box of height of 20 centimeters, width of 20 centimeters, and the same length. In the position, this stands for X, Y, and Z. So Z is negative here because we use in Vero we use coordinate system that we use. Z is pointing towards the viewer, so positive Z will be behind the viewer, and negative will be like in front of the viewer. So I'm putting this box 1 meter in front of me, and obviously I need to import this one here. And for UI text, I will do the following. So I will put here a Vero text with UI text that I will get as a param, and it will be of scale, I can put it like this, 5 position, again in front of the viewer, 1 meter in front of the viewer. Its style will be Let me just arrange it a little bit. Scale, position. The style will be styles hello world text style. And let me just paste a bunch of styles. So for styles, I use the same like style sheet create here. So hello world text style, nothing changed here. So Arial font size, let maybe just reduce a little bit font size to 10. Color centered and text aligned. Yeah, something like that. But when I forgot to close the viewer box. Sorry. So here I want to put it in front of the viewer, but I want it to be all the time in front of the viewer. So I want it to kind of move with the viewer, or actually positioned towards the viewer in terms of like rotation of text and stuff like that. So there is a prop called TransformBehaviors, and I can set it as billboard X, billboard Y, and obviously I need to close this. Yeah, I think it will do for now. Let's just load the app. And yeah, I have some hello world scene AR could not be found. Yeah, sure. The world. Yeah, I think I just need to restart it. Let's bring it back. So I can put my ngrok here, but just for a record, I can, if you want to use Xcode, and you still won't be able to run it in simulator, but if you want to use it in Xcode, there is a script here, not here, somewhere. Yeah, this one, SetupID. So it sets up IDs for you. So if you want to run it through Xcode, it will install a bunch of dependencies, like lots of them, lots of pods, and you will be able to run it through Xcode. The problem there is when you commit, you will probably won't be able to commit because of the amount of pods installed. So you just need to kind of removed all pods, and then every time you install, then just do pod install and you're good to go. The demo I will have on GitHub won't need all this stuff, so you will be able to run it through the Vero app, through the testbed, or you can run the SetupID. It will work also. Yeah, let's just type E514 8D68. Yeah, something still. So I have this game scene AR, and let's see. So I'm trying to load the found. Yeah, that's the problem. default here. Game scene. Weird. Let me just try to. Basically, maybe let's just try to. Yeah, it's supposed to work actually. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, it's here. I'm just typing the ngok. B2 85 45 2 2. That's weird, it's still trying to load this. Game scene. Let's maybe save it. It wasn't saved or something. Okay, so yeah, it just changed the name here, but it didn't save. So yeah, live errors. That's fine. It happens. Okay, so we're starting our level, and I don't see this box actually. I'm supposed to see this box. Maybe I'm not tracking. Let's see what's going on. So I have this zero AR thing. Yeah, sure, because we need to return it. It's kind of tricky to type one hand, other hand holding the phone, but sometimes when you do AR stuff, you have to do that. And yeah. Sorry about that. Let's try it again. So you see that this is the box here, but the box is kind of flat. It's not the type of AR I want, right? But still, it's kind of cool. We already created that. So let's just hide the screen. Yeah, and let's just check back to menu, start again. So I have this working. I haven't checked. And you see we have a glimpse of no tracking, and then the box appears. So we are good on that. Let's now make our box look more realistic, I guess. So for that we need basically to add some kind of light, and Vero has this prop, this component, sorry, it's called Vero directional light. Let's just import it. This is the Vero directional light. Let's set it color as just white, and direction of this light will be 1 minus 1 minus 10. What does it mean? +1, so it will be kind of on the right side, -1, so it will point down and it will be like towards the viewer, so it's kind of this way. It's like this way. Yeah, so I have direction, and there are a bunch of props. Like how we want our shadows to be casted, so I won't dive into that. It's like the whole theory about that. But you can see this in the docs. You can find this in the docs about the lights and shadows and stuff like that. So let's try to reload our app. And it's here. Let's just try to reload it. So yeah, not really good. Cast shadow, true. Yeah, because we didn't set up material on this one. But let's do it on kind of second phase, because we need to create the actual game. So what we will do now is we'll set up another state. Remember I told you that each level we will have our plane smaller and smaller, so we'll have smaller space to stack on our Tetris blocks. So for that I want to create additional state of plane width and plane height. Plane length, actually, because height will be the same. Plane width and plane length for this surface. So this is the first thing, and then let's do the following. Let's create our actual plane selector. So we have, but before that, we'll add a bunch of UI. We will check if our plane width, initial plane width, is 0. Then we will just get UI text with the game started. Please select play area. Right? We want user to know what to do, right? So we need to put some kind of UI. So you see the benefit of putting this UI sync here, UI text here. We don't need to write it twice. Then let's think about how we will load this model. So we'll have 10 models, right? And we at the first level, and then there will be 20, and then will be more and more and more, right? And we want to load all these models, so we'll have some kind of additional state of our model map, basically. So let's call it model map, and it will be an empty array for now. And we also want to know which models are already loaded, so we want to load them on when the user selects a plane. Actually, you know what, let's just leave it here and do the plane selector part, and then we'll move to models. Okay. So we have this AR scene. Let's put it there. So we have this component called Vero AR plane selector. Selector. And everything that is inside this component. So let's say we have this. We had this box, right? Now, if we create Vero AR plane selector and put inside this Vero box, we won't see this Vero box at all. Let me show you why is that. Like how it will look like, I mean. So I have our uploading, and we'll start level, game started. Sorry. Forgot to export. AR plane selector. I imported that, and yeah, sorry, I misspelled that. There is no such component, that's why it yells at me. So let it load, and we'll start game, start level, game started. And now you see this surface. You see I have no box here, but I have this gray surface. So when I click on the surface, the box appears. So this is the plane selector, and actually it's a like helper component. Everything can be achieved with Vero AR plane, because for example, if instead I would have written Vero AR plane, I could have added all this stuff myself, but Vero AR plane selector already gives you that. So if, for instance, if you want kind of different UI for this gray area selector or stuff like that, you do it manually. But plane selector gives you this behavior. Like when you select a plane, it renders this thing, everything that is children of plane selector on that specific spot. And in addition to that, we have on plane selected callback. We'll pass on plane selected, and we'll pause updates, because we want to select a plane, and we don't want to, if we want pause updates, our plane will rotate with the user, and because tracking always updating. But if we pause updates, it will be just there. So we want to have this one. And if our plane selected, we will get basically an anchor map of our plane. So what we will do, we'll set our state where plane width will be our plane size, and we'll define this constant a bit. And we have this we have level passed in our app, Vero app props, right? Remember that we have level passed here. So we need to access this level prop. So we do that by getting into these props, AR scene, AR scene navigator, Vero app props level, and we have essentially same for the length. So what's happening here with this UI? This UI will disappear, right? Because our plane width is already not 0. So yeah, so when plane selected, we already have width and we have length. Now it's time to render our actual box that we want. So let's do it like that. Vero box. Let's for now, I have a bunch of other properties for that, but for now let's just render it as it is. We have length, plane length, width, scale, and we want it to be 1.1 and 1, because we want basically to put the really thin surface on our like selected plane, right? Let's actually do something like this instead, just to show you. I'll edit this, and I just reload it. And we'll see where it goes. Start the game, start level. We'll select and yeah, sure. We don't have plane size. Let's define it as I don't know, 0.5 will do, I guess. Yeah. So start level. Okay, I have this quad, and you see it has some kind of size. So we want to put things on the surface basically. Now it's time to get into materials. And let me just bring one image for a second. Just getting some texture. Just trying to find this texture. Yeah, let me just bring it here. So I added this texture. So this is just basic metal. This is a normal map of a metal, and this is specularity texture of metal. So Vero gives you an ability to apply textures as you would do in 3D modeling. So you have color, texture diffuse map, you have normal, which is basically how bumpy the surface will look like, how it will show extrusions on the surface and stuff like that, and the specularity is how shiny the surface will be at some parts. So I brought these textures here, and now let's define our materials. let's actually, yeah, let's just keep it that way. And in order to define materials, I need to import Vero materials, and then I will just paste the snippet here. So I'll just call create materials. I have some transparent material for later. Later I will need that. And I have metal material with lighting model of Lambert, and I have several lighting models. You can see them in Vero docs, and will be under resources. So now to apply this material, I can pass that my materials will be metal, and it will know to look here under materials for this key metal, and will apply this material to this box. So let's just let's apply, for example, also materials here. And let's load. Let's see how it looks like. Yeah, I brought new files, so I need to restart that. And going into testbed. Now I need to pass my ngrok URL again. A11 6F 22 ngrok IO, and then still there's a problem there. Wait, where I put them? Ah, yeah, sure. Sorry about that. I need to pass it here. Now reload. Let's see how it will look like right now. We'll start game, start level, select surface, and you see I have here, and you see that the lights now it already has this like texture and lights and stuff like that. It's not like just shiny, just flat white models and stuff like that. So yeah. So we don't need this box, basically. We will just use this surface for rendering stuff in our game, for dropping 3D Tetris 3D models. So let's do that. But you know what, before that, let's do another cool thing. So let's say we want this box to rotate. So Vero has this thing with registering animations. We can bring in Vero animations, and similar to what we did with create materials, we can just register animations. So we'll have, for example, this one, loop rotate, and now we want to rotate the box. So to do that, we need to pass here some properties. So we already have materials. Now let's pass our animation object. Animation, and our animation will be, the name will be similar as we had with the materials, but we need to pass the name. But this time is not an array, this time is actually an object with the name. We say that it will run true and look true. And now our box should be rotating. So we need to select, and you see now it's rotating. Now there was behavior that we talked about when I told you about the game, that we need to some kind of drag things around. So there is also drag type property. So if I pass something like this, now I will be able to also to drag this model, and we will need this later on. So now you see I can just drag it around, and it drags with the surface and keeps rotating. So now it's already starting to feel kind of cool, but we still don't have our models. So we talked previously about and we actually created this state called model map. So what I want to do is to load a bunch of models, and they will be deactivated. They will load, you won't see them. They will be deactivated, but when you will see only one model. And if you click on this model and start dragging it, physics will apply and will fall on the ground. So kind of how to grasp before like seeing it, how it will look like. So let's just load the models, and then we will deal with all the dragging and stuff like that. So we'll have loaded models counter, and for later on we will have like activated indices array, this kind of stuff. So what we want to do when our component is mounted, we want to load our level. So what we will do in our load level function, we will set state with activated indices as empty, because every start of the level we won't have any activated models. We have loaded models counter as 0. We have another state called next model index as 0. We will have plain width 0, and we'll have plain length as 0, because every level you need to check, like select your plane again. So we'll have plane length and plane width as 0, and then we'll basically have this kicks in, and we'll have plane size based on level. So we'll have these ones, and yeah, so our level is loaded, but we forgot something. When we load level, we have model map, right? So our model map state is empty array. But we want to fill this array with actual models, and we want various types of models. So let's say we'll have I don't know, 5 various pieces. So we want to fill them, like fill models randomly for 5 different pieces. So let's do that. So we will have scene navigator 0 AR props model number, and we have array from array, and we'll fill it with, let's just arrange it more in a more readable way, and we'll fill it with like this, with math floor, math random, something like that. So model number is here. So level multiplied by models per level. I had a typo. So our model map will have, when our level is loaded, it will have random models. Array of it will be actually an array of random numbers, and we'll have some kind of like reset level. Oh, actually, we don't need that for now. Have reset. What we also need, we need to actually get these models. So have our plane selector and have our zero box. So let's do the following. If we'll actually map through our model map, and we will get model type will be a random number between 0 and 5. Model type and index, and we will call get model by type, passing model type and index. So for now, let's do the following. Just let's return. Actually, let's do the whole thing. So I have this one, and have model type, and we'll have index. So we will have some kind of model ID. Oops, wrong spot, sorry. We will have some kind of model ID, and it will be, let's call it model type. It's just my convention, I guess. Not a convention, it's just random. You can put UID here, it doesn't matter what you put here. Well, actually it needs to be constructed of model type and index. The reason we need this ID because we will have some kind of activation indices when you click on the model, so we need to know which one is which. So have model ID, and I will have Y position. We'll have this state, next model index. Oh, actually, I don't need that. Yeah, actually, let's be it like that. Let's be .5 plus 0.1 multiplied by index. So what will happen here? The first one, the position will be 50 centimeters above the surface and 10 more centimeters for every model. So they will be basically aligned vertically. And then now we need to deal with 3D objects. So for that I will bring a bunch of 3D models in my scene, and we will talk how I deal with them. Just a second. I think I have a folder here with models. Yeah, so there are a bunch of models. So this is like this type of blocks. Then with colors is just FBX exporter showing. FBX preview doesn't show these colors, but you see like just a regular Tetris box. Some of them are not structured correctly, so there will be some weird errors, but I think when I'll figure out like what's wrong with the models, I will just upload proper ones to the repo, and that's the materials and the base color and for these models. So I have this FBX and I have VRX files. So what is that? Essentially, when you have these models exported from 3D software, you will have only these ones. You won't have VRX files. So VRX files is Vero extension, and basically in order to get those, you can use all of them or OBJ or GLTF types of models. So with FBX, you need to run this script located here, Vero FBX. You have the description in docs how to run it, and it will create for you these VRX extensions. So I will just bring these VRX extensions with all of these into my Vero sample app, JS, resources, I think I will just create one with called Tetris and put everything inside. Yeah, something like that. Now I need to bring these models. So before using writing models here, I need to bring all of them, and I need somehow to differentiate between these models. So that's why I have random number between 0 and 5, because I will define here an array of models with bunch of with 5 blocks here, and they will be loaded based on the random number between 0 and 5. in the actual array. So in order to bring these models, I use Vero 3D object. Vero 3D object. Vero 3D object. Where was I? Yeah. So the type of the object is VRX. I will put some, well, key will be index, scale will be 04, 04, 04. So scale is based on the actual how model was exported. So Vero tag is something you can use for collisions detection. When you collide with surfaces, you can get this Vero tag and understand which models is collide. I will add animation, and my animation will be the same one we used here. Where was it? So just use the same one. It will be loop rotate animation, and I will have drag type as fixed distance. So fixed to world drag type that I used before is fixed to like world, so it will kind of jump between surface to surface. Fixed distance means when you click on an object in AR and you move with this object, it will stay on the same distance it was when you clicked on it. So you actually need to move around with the object and stuff like that. So when I'm dragging, for now I won't do anything with that, and when my load, and that's what is happening when when model is loaded. So what I will do, I will set my state for loaded models counter +1. Position will be 0, Y position that I created here, and 0. Source will be model type. So again, this model type is a random number between 0 and 5, so it will get me various sources from here. So this is my source, and let's leave it like that for now. Let's restart that because I added bunch of files. And where was it? Here. Enter testbed. And ACC A1E 91 and rock. Let's see. So we haven't enabled any physics yet, and we haven't enabled any like lose lives, and updating score stuff. So when I select surface, will probably take time until models will load. We'll see them in a bit, hopefully. Usually it takes some time to load them. You know what, let's just add some UI here so we can see if it's loaded or if it's not, and actually debug that. We had our game started, and let's end this one, this snippet. So just getting loading 3D models on the all of this stuff. Okay, they are saying we're returning models, get model by type, and yeah, it seems fine. Let's try it right now again. Actually they are loaded, as you can see, and they are spinning around. Yeah, some of them without colors, which is weird, but yeah, weird actually. I told you some models are not loaded so good, but let's try to reload that, and we will have this loading UI. We still wanted this loading UI to be there, right? And while it's reloading, let me show you something. I will add a physics body to my surface, so I can calculate physics. So I had this box with the metal material, and physics body will look like this. Oops, sorry, it's the whole thing. Physics body will look like this. So we'll have different types of physics body. We have static physics body, and we have dynamic physics body. So the static ones is basically for surfaces, for things that are static, and dynamic are for ones that you want to fall and stuff like that. So for example, let me show you how I do that with Vero box that we've created, the metal box. So the type will be dynamic, and it will be of mass of 1. So now if I reload that, and actually another thing I forgot is no, actually I didn't forget for now. No, it's on the next stage. I didn't forget it. Yeah, so you see that the box fell, and we have this loading 3D models here, loading 0 out of 10, and it's supposed to update once models are loaded. So we'll just wait until everything loads. Yeah, it takes time, huh? Yeah, first one is loaded and it's already rotating, and then 6. Here they are. So we have the final one, and that's it. We have all our models here. So that's cool, but we want our models, or only the last one to be seen, and other models to be hidden before. Like, you want to see the next model, right? You don't want to see the whole thing. so what we will do, we will change the opacity of our models. So Vero 3D object, we will pass opacity here, and our opacity will be if our models counter this state model map length and index this state next model index, or this state activated indices includes model ID. So if it's like that, then it's 1, otherwise it's 0. So what does it mean? We'll have this next model index, right? Which for now you've seen it only on load level part, right? But we will have this like when you click on an object, we will activate it, and when you click on a model, we will activate it and put it into activated indices array, and then bump our next model index. So the next model will be seen, but the one that is inside activated indices array will also be seen. So you'll basically see all activated models and the next one. So what we need to do now is test how it will look like. Let's see how it will look like. Let's see, so start the game and loading models. 0 of 10. So here, this thing is this predicate is here because I want my models to be visible only when I have this when all my models are loaded. So right now I don't see anything, and that's what I actually want. So you see only the last one, and I also can move it, but nothing happens right now when I move it. Right, so now it's time to add now it's time to activate it. Let me just double check something. Yeah, okay, fine. So let's activate it, and we will activate it on drag. So here, what we need to check, if our model is still not activated, and we will activate gravity, and we will pass model ID and we'll pass index. So activate gravity will be kind of tricky one, because it's not actually that we will actually activate gravity. We will activate it here by passing enabled and checking if our activated indices includes our model ID basically, right? But our activate gravity will work. Let's change it to something else. I don't really like the name of activate gravity. Or maybe we'll just keep it. Yeah, let's just keep it activate model gravity. No. So I will have update score when I am activating model, and I will have change level once I reach some kind of score, and I will get it from ARC navigator Vero approps. So then I will set my state to be activated indices. We'll get current activated indices, and then it will also get model ID as a new index. And in addition to that, I will bump my next model to be index +1. So something like this. So this is for setting state, and I will have a callback for after setting the state. I will update score, and if my activate indexes length equals model map length, then I will change my level to be level 2. So I think that will do. Let's see how it works. So if it will work, we'll already have change level functionality, and we'll need the final thing that we'll need is basically losing lives and game over. And once we do that, we're basically done with the game. So let's see. Start level, select the surface. Yeah, I can't find model ID. Why is that? Activate. Get model by type. Yeah, because I need here model ID and I need index, and also have model ID here, but I don't have it. So let's see how model ID is created, and then here if it includes actually get model by type. Okay, sorry about that. Wrong. It's on Vero box and it's supposed to be on Vero 3D object, so it's supposed to be here. Now think it will work. Start level. Still cannot find model ID. Have it here enabled. It was yeah, right, because I don't have model ID there. And where was it? Get the rsync and enable, same. You know what, I'll just remove this zero box. I don't need this zero box here anymore, and I need to add physics. So let's just copy paste this one and just remove this zero box and have it here in 3D objects. Physics, I don't have something like that. That should work, hopefully. Yeah, it takes time to load. So meanwhile, while it's loading, let's add another thing here. Vero. I will add with Vero quad, because I want this kind of like dead zone when my models fall from the surface, and basically when they collide with these dead zones, you lose life and eventually die. So we'll have it in yeah, let's just check it if it works. So loading models. Meanwhile, Vero airplane selector. Let's just have Vero quad. The key will be dead zone. Height will be huge. Width will be also huge. Every time you pass Vero quad, it will be vertically, so you need to rotate it in -90 degrees to be like on the surface. So we need to rotate it. We need to position it below our surface, so it will be 0, 3 meter down, 0. Physics body will be of static type, and have also on collision. We will call it dead zone collision, and basically it for the quad. And let's put it here somewhere, and when we will collide, we will just call ARC navigator Vero approps lose life, and at some point when you lose all lives you get to 0. So we have update score, we have change level. Yeah, it looks like. Okay, so I have first model, and you see, if I release this model, it falls, and some model falls through, which is not good. But I told you some models are not working properly, so, and they're still rotating, right? I don't want them to rotate, so I want, when I click on the model, I want it to stop rotating. So let's add these two. So we had a loop rotate, and we had run as true. Instead, we will set it as the state next model index, if it equals to index, and we'll set interruptible as true, so the rotation can be interrupted. That's for rotation. Why did I lose lives? That should be all, I guess. Let's see. That will actually give us, I think that that's the whole. I haven't forgotten anything. Yeah, that will be basically the game, if everything will work. So we need to test right now that we can change levels, get into like level 2 with 20 blocks and stuff like that. Yeah, we have this dead zone, right? So right now it's seen, so we need to add material to this dead zone. While models are loading, let's add that. I'm doing it with one hand because the other one is holding the phone. But we have this transparent, and we are quad. Let's just add materials equal what was that? Transparent, and that should do. So we have the first one stopped. We have our score is bound to 100. This one. Now this one. Now what happens if it falls? Nothing. Which is weird. We're supposed to lose life on that. And also I don't want every time to search for these models over there. So let's add this. How it was called, lose life. Maybe I misspelled that. Dead zone collide. Dead zone collide. I think I just misspelled that. Yeah, dead zone collide. And then I passed that one. I want different position. So in position, white position, I put it like this. But let's do it in a different way. Something like this. So if my next model index equal index, then I'm on like half a meter above the surface, otherwise I'm going up. Let's try to reload and see how it works. select the surface. You see I don't have this dead zone right now, so there is no dead zone there. So I'm loading these models. Let's just wait for that. Okay, so it's loaded. If I drop it there, you see lives get to 2. If I get all of them on the surface, one bumped from it. And I told you models are a bit off, but now I get to level 2. So I start level with score 0, and then I need to select my surface, and you see it's much smaller. So right now I'm loading 20 models, and I still have only 1 life. So that's how you progress in this game. So let's try the game over scenario. So if we miss the quad right now, it will fall, and if we miss the surface, it will fall on the ground, and we'll have a game over. And we need to check that we are able to start it from scratch, because like if you get a game over and you click on start game, you will have it from the very beginning. So let's see that it works. If it works, then we're good. Let's see. It takes a lot of time to load these models. I would say too much time to load this. Yeah, but now it's loading faster. So obviously in a in a bigger game, we will have this proper state management and stuff like that. So I will probably at some point I will do a stream of like how you use GraphQL with AR games and AR apps in general, and how you load resources and stuff like that. So we have a game over, and we'll start game. Now I actually have a problem here with the starting game, because we start level 3, we don't want that. Let's check where's the problem. Lose life. So when we lose lives, set state lives, game over. So it's not only game over, it's also score 0, level 0, and lives 3. So we'll start from scratch when we'll start. Yeah, and that's basically it. That's the whole game. So in terms of how you find this game, so this is the repo. calls file blocks AR, and the whole game is here. Yeah, so it's the one. Actually, there is two branches. The one I showed you is the Tetris one, so make sure to check this branch. That's the one we created with like all of this stuff. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned. My Twitter handle is Vladimir Novik, and follow me on Twitter. And I will be streaming a bunch of other stuff and next month on ReasonML. So make sure to follow, and thanks. See ya, guys. I will be out.